This is William K. Murtaugh, Heart Witness 1, and this is December 23rd, 2020. And this is a rather important date. And on this date, I am going to discuss intent. Now, there was a tweet made by the fake task force Twitter account about me, as usual. But they made a statement that is quite telling and goes to what these people intended to accomplish by making the statement. And basically, they said that I do not have a child. And they find that remarkably strange. And they also said that I live in a mobile home without air conditioning, which I guess is supposed to be some kind of spectacular sin or something nowadays. The fact that I live in a mobile home and I don't have air conditioning. But it was important enough for them to broadcast this to the world, along with the onslaught of negativity they've directed towards me in the past few days. So let's talk about intent, and let's talk about what led up to the intent. For this, I have to give you a little bit of a background. Now, this group, and one individual in particular that's part of this group, has been attacking me relentlessly for years. This individual has lied about me time and time again for years. This individual has accused me of being a child killer, of being a domestic terrorist, of being all kinds of terrible things. And he's accused a highly respected lawyer from Southeast Florida of the same thing. And everybody tries to get the truth out and to show these people are lying, and when you do, they come after you and they lie about you. Everybody. If you criticize these people, your lies are going to be destroyed. It's the truth. So, let's get to the meat on the table here. And let me explain why I do not currently have a child. It's just pretty simple, actually. Now remember, these people have been attacking me for years. They know everything about me. I mean, everything. They've doxed me. They put all my personal information on the internet. They have told everybody everything that they can possibly think of about me. So they know full well why I don't have a child currently. But perhaps there's some of you out there, those of you who have been recent warriors for truth, those of you who stumble across this channel not knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing. Let me explain it to you. The reason I don't have a child currently is due to an incident that happened on August 23rd, 2000. You see, I did have a child. That child's name was John Brian Murtaugh. He was born He was born on April 2nd, 1975. Within a year of his birth, he was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes. Now, I don't know how many of you out there either have juvenile onset diabetes as a child with this disease or know somebody in your family and friends unit who has this disease. But take it from me, it's something you do not wish on your worst enemy. My son suffered every day of his life with this insidious disease. He had to poke himself with a needle every day, more than one time a day. He had to poke his finger to take blood tests every day, multiple times a day. He started to lose his eyesight. Was told that he was probably going to go on kidney dialysis. He was told that he may have to have an insulin pump. His health was failing. And in mid-August of 2000, he had a heart attack. Was taken to Leesburg Hospital. Was told by the heart doctor that his heart was only 33% functioning. And that he was going to have quadruple bypass surgery if there was any chance he was going to live. His mother was still alive then. And we were given the hope that this is a routine operation, that he would survive to live a reasonably good life. I mean, he was eventually going to have all these things done, the insulin pump, the other things, kidney dialysis, he was facing that. But at least he would be living. So we said our goodbyes to our son as he boarded the elevator with all the doctors and nurses that were going to give him another chance to live. And the doors closed, and we waited in the little, they put you in a little room with a TV set. You sit there and you wait. And we hoped and planned for what would happen after the operation was complete. But it was not going to happen. The surgeon in charge of the operation came into the room, tears in his eyes, and told us that our son didn't make it, that he was not going to live, that all hope was lost. He had died in the elevator on the way up to the operating table. They spent an hour in the elevator trying to resuscitate him, to no avail. And so rather than plan for a future with our son, we planned his funeral. We buried him a week later. And then in 2008, 2 weeks after her birthday, my wife was celebrating the birthday of a workmate in Altamont Springs when she too died. We were sitting there talking, and all of a sudden my wife's head rested on my shoulder as if she fell asleep. Her workmate, who had a medical background, knew immediately that something was wrong. And we got her on the floor, and she proceeded to give her CPR, and an ambulance was called. My wife was taken across the street. They stabilized her as best they could. And she was put on board a life flight for the short trip down to downtown Orlando to a hospital that specializes in intensive heart treatment. but she didn't make it. She died of something called a macular occlusion, complications of adult onset diabetes. So both my son and my wife of 36 years was taken from me because of diabetes. Kind of a double whammy. And so there I was, all alone. No family. And that's the way it is today. Now I have a companion, Cheryl. Very nice woman. And she helps me get through every day of what has happened. So I do have support there. But this is Christmas. This is New Year's. And for those of us who are survivors of those who have gone, who have passed, know what it's like to go through these holidays without them. We know the pain of going through holidays without them. Now, people like the group that are part of the PPTF, E-Clause, the Children's Crusade, and the High Command, they don't know this because apparently they haven't suffered this loss. Or if they have suffered this loss, they don't care enough about the suffering of others. You know, for those who don't know, there is no pain, there is no more bitter experience than outliving your child. And it's just as much of a bitter experience to know that someone that you have grown up with since high school, someone you have been married to for 36 years, and the mother of that same child suddenly dies and leaves this world. Leaves a very, very big hole in your heart. And it's something I don't wish on anyone. I don't wish this experience on my friends, and I don't wish this experience on my enemies. Nobody should have to suffer through something like this. But unfortunately, it's a fact of life. People live, people die, our loved ones live, our loved ones die. We have tragedies in our lives, but it's how we deal with these tragedies that is important. We can choose to continue to do the best in the world and be the best that we can be, or we can choose to be mean and cruel and take advantage of people in adverse situations. And this is what people like the PPTF do. They take advantage of people in adverse situations. And because of their actions, there are people directly affected. Cynthia Absug in Colorado is never going to celebrate the Christmases, the New Year's, all their holidays, and the birthdays, and the life milestones because of her getting involved with the task force and the PPTF. And Neely Blanchard is sitting in jail, not able to celebrate Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, and other landmark life events because of her involvement with E-Clause, the PPTF, and so on and so on and so on. Others have had their lives turned upside down because of this group. Other people will probably have their lives turned upside down if they get involved with this group and those that are part of it. And there are those of us out there who know what it's like to be targeted by these people who are going to continue to fight these people. There's an obvious intent for what was behind this particular remark. Anyone that knows anything about what happens to people who go through all these holidays with empty hearts, knowing that they can no longer celebrate with their departed loved ones. We know what happens to some of these people, and I think the implied intent was to cause that something to happen to me. But it's not going to happen. I'm not going to succumb to this intent. I'm going to stay in there and I'm going to fight. Not so much for me, but for others. Those who have been the victims of these people and those who could potentially be victims of these people. I am fighting for the truth. I am fighting for honesty. And I am fighting with others who are for truth and who are for honesty. We are here to expose the grifters, the crooks, the scammers, the frauds. Like, subscribe, hit notification icon, and join us in the fight for truth and honesty. And to all of you out there, have a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year, and Happy Holidays to all. And may the good things in life come about in 2021 and beyond. This is William K. Murtaugh, Witness One. Have a good one.